This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome. Thank you for coming to the meeting that I am officially chairperson of. This is Maureen. I am looking for the agenda. And what I see is that first on the agenda would be the approval of the commission meeting minutes for the month of June. Was anyone able to really decipher the information of that meeting enough for us to be able to accept the meeting as an official meeting? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, I'm thinking, I can't see the minutes. I don't have the minutes with me, but that's the meeting that we discussed the parks. We discussed the what's going on with recreation department. We had the vote for the officers, where you were elected as the chair. I would certainly support that. That's what happened in that meeting.
Yeah, the transcript, just to reiterate what Maureen is saying, the transcript was not very accurate. And even right now, it is going to, transcribe this meeting, but I am taking notes in addition because it was clear to me and many others expressed that you really couldn't make out a lot of the conversation. A lot of the words did not make sense. And in talking to our IT department, they confirmed that typically 85% should be accurate, but that depending on people's sound situation, things may not come out appropriately.
Well, then I don't think we can accept the minutes if they're not.
Question. This is Steve. Can I suggest someone make a motion to table approval of the minutes until next month, and hopefully we can get it sorted out and everybody look at them beforehand, just for the sake of brevity here.
I would make that motion that the reading of the minutes be held off and that the review of them be tabled until our next meeting so they can be clarified.
I'll second it.
It's Nancy.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm just, I had the agenda in front of me. I don't know what happened to it. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Next up seems to be
We can
action.
read it to you, Maureen. There's not a
Lindsay,
lot
do you
on
have the agenda? What's next?
Yes, action discussion items, which I was going to give you guys an update on the department and programs.
Okay.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
So a couple of things have happened, I think, since our last meeting. The biggest one being that, does anyone hear that? Oh, I'm sorry. There's a weird bounce back going on.
I don't have any.
Good. All right. Our staff were brought back. So originally, Courtney, Casey, and Andrew were asked to come back. The city had decided to partner with local groups such as Boys and Girls Club, CCE, the YMCA, Read and Write, to basically offer a youth enrichment program because it was decided that traditional summer camp under the new guidelines was not going to be feasible or just realistic with the guidelines and what our staffing situation was at that time. And so the mayor and I had discussed a way to offer our services and be able to contribute basically by offering our facilities. So the Hodge Center, Rondout Center, and Midtown Center are 3 of the locations of this youth enrichment program. Read and Write is currently at Rondout Center. CCE is occupying Midtown Center. And of course, Family Woodstock is at the Hodge Center. And part of this arrangement was that our staff would also be included as partners. So Andrew was assigned to be the site person at Rondout. Courtney was originally planned to be at the Midtown Center. And then Casey was going to serve as sort of a floater, offering her environmental education programs at each of the facilities and at each location. I'm sure some of you have already heard, but Courtney has resigned. She took another position with another municipality. We're very happy for her and wish her the best. And so we did have to do some last minute changes as far as the staffing goes. So Casey is primarily at the Midtown Center when needed, but also serving as kind of a program floater throughout the other locations and offering her environmental education curriculum.
Okay, so how many kids are able to participate in those programs? Are they drop-in or are they pre-registered?
Yeah, so it's considered, we had to go through a little bit of a process to ensure that this was, permitted, and what permits were needed by each program. And so since each of them are serving as a drop-in facility, it's not a camp. So there was no application or permitting that needed to happen as far as the Department of Health went. They were very specific to make sure that we were not allowing anyone to label themselves as a summer camp, because that would obviously mean different permits and such. As far as health concerns, they each had to provide what their safety plans were, what they were going to be offering as far as health assessments for their staff and for the kids. And another, I don't want to say recommendation, it was more like they were strongly urged by the health department to still request immunization records from each of the children. And so we tried to work with the school district to see if the nurses would be able to help provide that if folks had a hard time getting to their doctors. And so each location is obviously assessed differently. They have different
Right. We hear, Lindsay?
I'm sorry?
You're breaking up.
Well, that's
what I can.
I mean, someone's static is going off.
And I was just wondering if anyone else was.
If you can mute your microphone if you're not talking, it
having
might
difficulty
that.
hearing you.
If everyone could just mute their computer, it would cut out the static.
Hello? I'm not hearing. Okay. Anyone speak?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can. Okay, great.
Now I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. So each location has different requirements as far as numbers goes. We mostly left it up to the program organizers to determine what needs they could offer as far as numbers and such. But being that the ones in our building, we actually did have more say in. So we told CCE that we would rather them not go beyond 30 kids because the guidelines are that no more than 10 kids to a group, or excuse me, 10 people to a group. So that includes the and so if there's 2 counselors for a group of 8 kids, they cannot exceed those numbers in a specific group during the day. And they're advised to keep the groups together so that, God forbid, there was this or someone did get sick. It is contained only to the individuals that were near each other, rather than everyone being in the same group. And does anyone have any questions about that part of it, the numbers?
No.
So I'm sorry, who are we collaborating with again? CCE, Read and Write.
Yep, Boys and Girls
Club.
Yep, Boys and Girls Club. The YMCA was originally partnering with us, but then once camps were permitted, they kind of decided to go the route of doing their traditional camps under the guidelines that were set by the state. They've been part of our conversations and such, but as far as everyone kind of operating under the same umbrella, they're kind of doing their own thing. And Family Woodstock is the other agency. Novo has generously donated, to help out with food costs. If any of the program organizers felt that they needed assistance, they were advised by Novo to reach out, and that they would discuss any additional costs that were needed for their program. I think that so far it's been going well. We have a check-in tomorrow to just see how everyone's feeling after the first week. Just knowing, with us being at Midtown Center, we obviously can see firsthand more often what CCE is doing, and I'm impressed with what they're doing with their system. They have the kids spread out. The kids are wearing their masks. If they do try to take their masks off, the counselors or the staff are very good about, in a friendly way, in a encouraging way, to make sure that they are putting their masks back on. They're cleaning all the surfaces. They're sanitizing frequently in between every use, all the door handles, any area or surface that they're occupying, they're cleaning in between every single use. I can tell you that it's encouraging to feel and hear some life back in the building. There's music, there's drumming, and we've been feeling good about having the building in use again.
What are the hours of the program?
9 to 3. The staff come early to clean, sanitize, set up. And then there's that was another requirement by the health department, was that there needed to be staggered drop off and pickup times. So anywhere from like 8:45 to 9ish, the kids are being dropped off. So that way it's not, a bunch of cars. Parents are not allowed in the building. They have to check in outside of the building. Temperatures have to be checked before they show up, and then they're checked again by the staff once they report. And then there's a midday check-in. I believe it's sometime after lunch, to ensure that they're, if they've been running around or anything, that their temperature is not raised. So 9 to 3 with kind of 8:30 being the prep and clean and sanitize, and then again between 3 and 3:30 they're cleaning and sanitizing to wrap up the day.
Okay. Well, that's great. At least something is going on again. Something's happening. Yeah. And I'm sure that the kids who can participate are appreciative of that. So.
Yes, and it's a free service. It's not, just so everybody's aware, it is a free service. This is not meant to be daycare. It's not meant to be camp. It was offered and intended for our most at-risk youth, families that really need this and need a place for their children to go, and anyone who's struggling with the impacts of COVID. They also have a social worker that is visiting the different locations, kind of doing group time with the kids, and it's really been helpful.
Okay. And this is going to be for what, 4 weeks?
This so it started this past Monday, the 6th, and it's expected to run through August 14th.
Okay.
And it's split up, so it's a 3-week session. So after the first 3 weeks, my understanding is that it's going to be open up to new kids to come by.
Does anyone have any questions? Hello, out there.
Hi there. I was just going to ask that question, but she already answered it about a new session. So I'm glad that the question was
Give
answered.
me a brush, please.
Yeah, and that was decided. I knew when it was discussed, there were a lot of challenges that were brought up about that. But mostly everyone had the same goal, that they wanted to be able to serve as many kids as possible. And with the number having to be limited, it seemed like the safest and the most efficient way to do it was by splitting it up into 2 sessions.
Oh, Jaquan?
Okay.
Your son?
All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, no, right, very well. I forgot his son's name. I forgot.
Joe?
Yes. No,
Oh,
I have no
okay.
questions. Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right then. That was action and discussion of items, department and programs updates. Anything else, Lindsay?
Yes, so I just wanted to let you know, because this question had come up as well. With Courtney's departure, that leaves another vacant position. I have chatted with the mayor just to ask if we are still on a hiring freeze. And it does seem at this time the position will not be filled. I think that with the concern that or the uncertainty of what programs are going to be able to open up in the near future, I think it's kind of the wait and see as far as backfilling positions. So for anyone who was wondering that, I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that at this time. Additional things, the Rec Trust Fund projects. I'm not sure how many of you have seen that list, and I think I sent it all to you guys, a copy. My understanding is that the skate park is the only item that was taken off the list or not officially approved. I think that there is still, it's not completely dead. My understanding is that they're going to work to reach funding and try to get some outside funders. Sounds like there's potential for sponsors such as Nike and other agencies like that. So it sounds like there's a task force that is working towards that and trying to keep that vision alive to some extent. So once I get more information on that, I will be sure to update you guys.
Okay. Well, I hope that at some point Courtney's position is going to be filled again, because we can't really afford to lose another person in the rec department. So another
Absolutely.
employee. So
yes, and I do think that the mayor understands the importance of that position, especially because an additional full-time rec leader was just added for this year. I think that I think there's just kind of the concern about what programs are going to be allowed to resume, and what our financial situation is. But I will make sure that I stay on that and keep asking about it and trying to get details as they come up.
I think that we may need to be a squeaky wheel at some point. And with Courtney's position gone, and there not being an abundance of staff, to put it lightly, and with the financial um, situation and status of the city and taxes and all of that. I don't know if and when it would be approved, but I'd like us to at least be on the table for consideration for that approval. So I appreciate your bringing that to him, Lindsay, and I think that we need to continue to do that so that we stay in the eye of the mayor and the common council, for so that recreation is continues or starts or continues to be, actually it has been.
Absolutely, I agree. And I know that people are extremely anxious to go to the parks, have their sports and their leagues. So it is very important that we are in a position to be able to offer those services when the time comes.
Okay.
Steve, Steve is trying to talk. Steve, you're muted.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. I'll make a suggestion. We will be talking probably no later than the next finance meeting. We just had one Wednesday night, so it'll be a month. But there's a lot of things coming up, about filling positions and whatnot. We're trying to, it's difficult right now trying to strike a balance between city finances and filling positions that we think are essential here. Some input from the rec commission would be helpful. Then send something to the mayor, to finance committee. Doug Coop is the chair of that. Matter of fact, to all the aldermen would be nice. And, express your concern over this position not being filled. And I do want to go on record right now and, give Courtney a shout out. Courtney was a hard worker. I hate to see her go. I think she was a good face for the department. She always had a positive attitude. Certainly let everybody on the council know where you stand. Certainly, where I stand. So, I'll certainly be, putting that forward to fill that. I would love to see that filled. A couple other things while I'm on the spot here. A couple positive things here. We were in the parade to honor the essential workers last Sunday, which was really nice. Quite a few cars, fire trucks, police cars. We drove through the city to the hospital, to the fire departments, all that, and beeped our horns. And there were a lot of people out on the streets waving. It was really, really nice. It was a, very uplifting experience. I was pleasantly surprised by the turnout. It was very good. So anyway, a positive amongst everything else that's going on. And, hey, we can look around and still a lot of positive stuff going on. And I'll mention this briefly. I don't think you guys want to get into too much of the details, but we just final council passed through council the other night. We're waiting. Hopefully, the mayor will approve our community development block grant. We got extra money this year to go towards COVID-related activity, and we got 37 applicants for money, which, needless to say, was only 325,000, so it doesn't go a long ways. But we had the opportunity to go through a lot of requests and read some really uplifting stories about what organizations are doing here in Kingston to help our fellow Kingstonians. And I have to tell you, I'm very, very proud, to be living here in Kingston with such giving people. So obviously we gave out all the money, folks, or at least we approved it. Hopefully it will go through. And, a lot of these people, like, family and people's place, they didn't know there was going to be an opportunity to reimburse for some of their expenses. And they really put themselves under financial duress with the amount of money they spent on food and clothing and transportation. And how much people have been spending with no knowledge that they might get something back. So, it was difficult to say the least to make some choices here, but in the end, we felt good about what we did, and it's just a pleasure to be in a community, like this where everybody is giving. Let me see, a couple other things. Obviously we're taking a hard look at pretty much everything. We did approve some money being moved from the trust fund over to some capital projects. Actually, there were 7 projects total. I think we're going to allow 6 of them to move forward. And I think we okayed $315,000. I'm not quite sure, if $315,000 is going to go too far with 6 or 7 projects, but we'll see. I hate to sit on them. Now's a good time to strike. The parks are not real active right now. It's a good time to work in the parks. So that's a positive too. We okayed some money to finish up. I think it's going to finish up Barman Park, fix the fences and a couple other things. And let me see. I think that's pretty much it for me. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's good for me.
So you said the next finance committee meeting is going to be held when?
Well, it's the
August.
second Wednesday of the month, so which we just had it
Okay,
last night.
second Wednesday.
You got to
Steve,
this is my
Okay.
fourth meeting. This is my 4th meeting
I have
online
a
of
question.
the week, so I'm a little.
I have a question for you on that,
Okay.
the capital expenditures that you were talking about. The capital expenses for different facilities that you're drawing from the foundation, from the trust, from the fund on, and I saw that, I was a little confused. Is that separate from any funding for Midtown, for the center itself?
For the from the trust fund.
Yeah, and is there any consideration for the renovations for the Midtown Center?
I could actually speak to that. It's not included in the rec trust fund, but there's CDBG funds apparently available to address the issues that have been discussed in Midtown. I know Kevin has worked with Steve Schaff and John Schulteis in the past. I've had conversations and meetings with John and Julie. We've looked at the list, and we've looked at some additional issues that were pointed out. So my understanding is that it's going to be an upcoming conversation.
Okay. That's just something I would hate to see fall off the table as money becomes tighter and then say, well, there's no money for Midtown,
Well, that's going to be a whole separate issue. Yeah, I don't think any of the trust fund is going to be used for that. I had several meetings with John before all this started happening, and it, with everything going on, that kind of fell by the wayside. But once we get moving again, we're gonna be applying for some grants, and I had spoken to Brenna. Brenna's left now, but hopefully pretty soon we'll get back on that.
Okay, any other concerns or questions? So that brings us to old business, I guess. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I can hear you. Yep.
So is there any old business that we want to discuss? Joe, I know that that you've still been pursuing the renovations and improvements for the Raquel Knox Park. You want to elaborate on that a little?
Hello, Lindsay? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay, I can hear you, Joe. Joe?
Can you hear me? Yes.
Joe?
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear
I can
me?
hear you. Can
Okay.
everyone hear Joe?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Okay.
you want to go more into detail what we discussed today? I think she have more script of it.
Yeah, so today, Joe and I had a meeting with Julie to go over possibility of some mulch being donated and a possible community build for the Raquel Knox Park Playground. I think I mentioned to you guys before, part of the Rec Trust Fund were plans to repair and improve the Raquel Knox Park. A lot of that includes moving the fence in a little. That seems to be the best way to deal with that retaining wall. It would be too expensive and too much of a task to be able to actually tear the wall down. There's some larger trees that are pushing the wall forward. Those are going to be removed. I think there's two major ones that are a big part of that problem. And so I believe $70,000 was approved for this project. But looking at the playground structures, they seem to be not as expensive as we originally thought. So it seems like we would be saving some costs in certain areas. Joe has been super gracious and has offered to donate his time, his services, again, the rubber mulch and possibly the install of the playground. We are looking into any legality questions about that part of it with the union, making sure that there's no issues with the work that would be donated. And so once we send them the scope of what the work would entail, they'll tell us what needs to be done by DPW and what can be done by the playground installation companies, and also possibly a community volunteer kind of fun project. So we're looking into all that.
Okay. Is there any time frame on when all this work will be completed? Will it, be done before the end of this year?
I would have to double check with Julie and what her exact timeline is or what she foresees. We have started the process of reaching out, though. I know that she's planning to reach out to Raquel's mother and father, as well as the church, I believe is across the street there, and some other people in the community to bring them to the site, everybody kind of take a look and let them know what's being proposed. We would like to get people's input on that part, especially that, the core group of people that was mentioned. So I believe once we get that, we're going to see and what can happen as far as the actual installation. So I can try to with a more specific timeline once we have that.
Okay. What are those red poles that are metal poles that are sticking out of the ground? Is that where the original playground equipment was installed?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why those were left. I don't know if those were if they were unable to get those out or if they needed to leave some sort of markers. I'm not sure why that was left behind.
Okay. It just seemed so dangerous, really. But in any case, at least work is at least the conversation is being had. So regarding the park, so I'm hoping that it can be done soon. I mean, that park, it's been standing vacant for far too long. So
Absolutely. And we've been pushing for it in the last couple of months and making sure that it is seen as a priority.
great. Thank you for that. Anyone else have any questions regarding Raquel Park or any of the other parks? Okay, any other old business that we need to address? Okay, I guess that brings us to new business. Well, new business? Lindsay, we have any new business on the table?
No, I do not believe so.
Anybody else? Okay, this meeting is moving right along.
Yeah, I don't think we have a whole bunch of new stuff given our
Yeah.
situation. I want to applaud Lindsay and the staff for keeping it going. It's got to be tough.
Thank you. Yeah, the staff are working extremely hard. Laborers included, the rec leaders, Casey and Andrew there's not one task that they have been presented with that they have not accepted and taken head on. So, they always say it takes a village, but it certainly does. And, we just want to make sure the community knows that we're still here and trying to, create safe, healthy environments for everyone to enjoy this summer.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Now, any questions, any further questions? Anyone have any further questions before we adjourn this meeting? Because seems like we've gotten to that point pretty quickly. Okay, it says that the next meeting is scheduled for August 6th, but usually we do not have a meeting in August. Am I correct?
Yes.
So so does the board want to have a meeting in August, or do you want to bypass it until and plan for our September meeting?
Is there, Lindsay, maybe you know, is there any plan to substantially change the activities between now and September?
As far as like what
As
activity?
program operations, things actually going on?
My understanding is that there doesn't seem to be any movement on that end. The only thing that I'm keeping my eye on as closely as possible is the rentals of the pavilions. That is the one thing that was not included in phase 4. And people are extremely anxious about that. We get several calls a day. I'm hopeful that sometime between now and I hope before August that is something that the governor will allow. But no programs to my knowledge.
Okay. I have a question. I read or heard something about there being some type of event. I think somebody was stabbed or in Dietz Stadium. Does that affect us in any way? As because we are in charge of Dietz Stadium. Did
And we
anybody
don't
hear
stab.
that there? Hmm?
Yeah, I heard that somebody was stabbed there, and and I hear your question in terms of, are we responsible for anything since it's under this department, and we have it open and no one there apparently, but I don't know what you do about that.
Yeah, I haven't been contacted about it or asked any questions or been made aware of anything other than what I saw on the paper.
And I had a couple of questions posed to me. One I shared with Lindsay earlier today. People were asking me about the second set of lights at the stadium and why weren't they on? Why, or can they be turned on? And apparently this was from last night or the night before. And Lindsay responded that I think they are on, right? Until 10?
I mean, I had passed it on to Steve Freer and Brian Kuhn, and that was what I was told, that both polls are on until 10 p.m.
Okay.
So
And then the other was,
I didn't know if they meant
the other,
additional lighting, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know there were two sets. I thought there was only one set, but what do I know? Then the other one was people were asking me when the boxing is going to start, and I said I didn't know, but nothing can start yet.
And my
You
understanding is
know,
boxing and any kind of physical sport, it sounds like is not in the cards at this time.
right,
And possibly in the near future, it doesn't sound good for basketball, football, martial arts, boxing,
all that stuff. Yeah.
volleyball. Yeah, it's like the last on the list. It's considered highest risk. But we're keeping an eye on all that.
Well, that's basically what I told the people. I said, I don't know anything about it, but I don't believe that. I don't think it's even a city thing. I think the governor isn't allowing that until he does,
Yeah, correct.
and I don't know when that is, but or if that's a phase or just another section or.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's an additional phase or just at this point things will be thrown in, or there's a bonus phase. I don't know, but I think that they're just going to start surprising us with, things
I like
little at a
that. I like your idea of the bonus phase or the bonus round. And here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, if you do really well, then maybe we'll let you, play some sports, but we'll see.
This COVID thing, not to be a cloud, but I do a lot of or a fair amount of virtual surveys for drug treatment programs across the country. The virtual's new. I usually fly there and do it, but I'm working with programs in Arizona and California, southern parts, Yuma, Arizona, Calexico, California, and the it's terrible there. It's terrible. The COVID, the illness is high. It's pretty rampant. It's like it was last week in Florida, and so my fear, of course, is that it comes back and we get takes another whack at us. But so it took some of the wind out of my sails in terms of the hope of some sense of normalcy soon. I don't know.
Well, I think I read where there were several more states throughout the country that were are now being they've peaked, and people traveling from there are not allowed to come into New York State, and I think the other two states that are collaborating on the safety issues with New York. So it's definitely, there's setbacks while things are opening up. So I'm glad that we're taking our time with the programming that we have going on, and I think the rec department is doing a great job at that. So here.
Slow and steady.
What did you say?
Slow and steady.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So do we want to have this meeting, our next meeting, August 6th, since it's only an hour meeting and it goes by pretty quickly?
I actually won't be able to attend, so I just want to let you guys know that someone would have to fill in as secretary.
Okay.
Hi, it's Nancy. I will be on vacation then.
Okay. So it sounds like our next meeting.
I could do it another week.
I'm not opposed to not having a meeting, so I'm just trying to get a sense of what everybody else wants to do. So I know that that Steve said that that we should address the finance committee regarding the position that has been vacated. Do we need to have a meeting in order to do that, or how will we go about, getting that taken care of?
And who's the contact, Steve, for the finance committee that we could send an email or a letter to or call?
Paul Coop, right? Or somebody Coop. Is Steve there?
He's there. I see him. I can't hear him.
Doug Coop, I believe
Doug
he
Coop.
said.
Oop.
So then, okay, so then that
Yeah.
just so then that can just be an email that's to be sent to him?
I would think. Any communication is better than nothing. As
Okay,
individuals, and we can do that as individuals.
okay. Okay, so that sounds like that can work. So let's plan for a September meeting then.
Alrighty.
I don't have a calendar in front of me, but it'll be the what? First Thursday of the month? Second Thursday? First Thursday of the month. This just happened to be a rescheduled meeting.
September
Yeah, so-
3rd.
Yes, the 3rd.
When's Labor Day?
The 7th.
Okay.
So we can get this meeting in before then. So
Alrighty.
I think that's it. I mean, does anybody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I
I'll make a
will.
motion to adjourn it.
I'll second
I'll
it.
second it.
Okay, there we go. All right, thank you, everyone, for
Nice.
showing up for the
I'll
meeting.
see you in September.
See you in
That's-
September. Stay safe.
Don't make me sing
Bye-bye.
it.
I was
Good
just
job,
All right.
Maureen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.